Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And we're going back into the Octagram Emblem Ceremony event versus MILIM. Part 1 had us using only Earth-focused teams, and there's about 4 of them, and we used all of them. And today we're going to use some not Earth-focused teams. Some newer teams, or some relevant teams, etc., etc. Now, because this stage is almost the exact same as the previous Octagram Emblem Ceremony event, I'm going to link the last one, which was versus Guy, into the video description because it has some other teams you can use. That stage was fire-focused rather than space-focused, but otherwise the mechanics remain the same. Even the quest names are the same. And the gimmicks, the shields, the Lord's Ambition stuff, it's all the same. So, I mean, if those teams worked then they'll work here, and vice versa. So we're going to use some teams that were not really shown in the last video that was earlier this month, and let's just go ahead and jump in. Alright, so first is going to be the Scourge Wielder meta. Technically, we already used that earlier this month for the last one, but now we have the full team, so I figured we could do that instead. And if you need a not as full team, again, check the previous video down below. But Elmezia, Kigali, Lumi, got Octagram, or not Octagram, but Warrior's Mind Guy, mainly for his convert turn 1, because blues are not nerfed and oranges are. And then Masayuki and the hero. So, turn 1, if you can get a decent hand for Guy, like you can get 5 blues with the protection gauge from the big 3, you can get access to Elmezia on turn 2. And that's pretty much the only reason I brought him. You could bring any orb changer if you want. And even if you don't have Lumi or the hero, you could bring the old hero. You could bring Divine General hero. This stage allows you to use pretty much any buff. The only problem is if it's a debuff, you can't do it on the Lord's Ambition turn. So, like, you don't need all of the team to do it. You just need to substitute some characters to help someone nuke. If you have Masayuki, then yeah, bring Guy, because he's going to give ult and guaranteed crits. You could bring the Divine General hero for the Pierce. You could bring Blanc for the physical damage, because if without Lumi we'd be missing that. But now that we have Lumi, the oranges aren't quite as nerfed, because it's an 80% nerf that's coming from MILIM, but Lumi is buffing them by 100%, and our orange damage by 200%. And now we've got 172 points, we've got 2 ults, so we could use the light buff and the Lumi buff, because it has the extra chaos attached to it. And then, again, the orange buff, because it only lasts for 1 turn. And we do want to make sure we get as many points and gauge as possible here, because I don't think we're actually going to kill. MILIM has like 5 million HP, and both of these characters are AoEs. One of them doesn't even have an EX ult. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the hero does 375. Masayuki does 645. Alright, it's not super great damage, but the chaos will kick in, and it'll do a decent chunk. And it'll put us at, yeah, 1.4 million damage done on that chaos. That's pretty good. And now we've got another hero ult. We've got more points, so now we can use the synergy buff, which was the only thing that we were missing from the actual team. So we didn't even really use Guy's ult and guaranteed crits. If you had to go another turn, like maybe you could have, because all the buffs from the other characters would already still be active, and that could get you your 5 million damage right there. And Guy also being single target, like he would benefit from all of these buffs, except the light and dark. But there we go. Did 1 million damage with the hero, and we still had the follow-up orbs and the chaos to kick in as well. So very, very easy to do with this team. Alright, next up is the Danmachi team. Pretty much the full Danmachi team. We've got Fern as our 5th slot character. You could bring Ryu if you want, if you have her, but this is a single target fight, so we're really going to only focus on ice. But if you bring Ryu, it becomes even easier because of that attack and wind plus damage buff. But with Bell not getting Pierce power till turn 8, he's really not necessary. If you want to nuke with ice earlier than turn 8 and just not have the Pierce power from Bell, then bring somebody else. Shuna, kind of important. Soka, also kind of important, but is replaceable, but she can convert at least for the couple of turns and give you a little bit of extra buff. we are going to go a bit faster in this fight, because we do go the full 8 turns. And we do actually load into a good turn 1, so let's just go ahead and use Soka's Convert and the green buff from Shuna, and then we'll bring Ice and Bell in. This is why I really, really dislike Bell, is that he'll get you a lot of Pierce power, he'll get you a lot of Weakness Strike, he'll get you a lot of ult damage, but until you hit turn 8, it's really just not that useful. And if we're going type neutral like we are here, or type disadvantage even, then his Weakness Strike that he's getting off the ults really doesn't mean jack crap, and his 20% ult damage per stack, I mean, is cool and everything, but I'd rather just bring somebody else. So, but this is the Danmachi team. I did want to use him. He would, if you have Ryu, you'd get Bell out of here. Do not use Bell, and you could nuke on turn 5 or something. Lord's Ambition doesn't matter to this fight very much. The only thing that's debuffing is Soka's Pierce down, which, if we're not bringing Bell or a Pierce unit in general, it's not really that important now, is it? You could bring Visions of Coleus Violet. You could bring just an alt buffing character that will just give you 100% or 70% instead of the stacking 20 from Bell every single turn. And it's, whatever you really, really want to do here. But we're going to focus on Ice and getting her single target ult. So we'll alt rush, we'll green buff, we'll put the stance back on Bell, and then we will continue to just alt away. And this team is very strong. It just takes forever to run, just like Divine General, because you're using just a bunch of skills over and over and over and over again. It's just that the converting is easier because of Hestia. And if you don't have Hestia, and you have Divine General Elmesia, then bring her, and use Geld. And you could take Soka out of here for Geld, or you could take Bell out of here for Geld, and that would work just as well. Because we're not getting any extra skill points from sending greens, because Ryu isn't here, and Geld isn't here. So we're only getting the 110 from Hestia plus whatever 6 green orbs will get you with a 50% gauge increase. So it can be, a lot of these characters can be swapped out, and you really don't even need Ice. Ice is type disadvantage. Like, we're nuking type disadvantage. So honestly, not the best use case for Danmachi just in general. If you have other single target nuking characters that could do this, that are magic focused, then just replace them into this fight. You can still use Hestia. You're still going to get the element buff, and you'll still get the 100 points and all that, and the converting, which is great. But most people shouldn't be bringing a type disadvantage nuker into a stage with 5 million HP and a lot of gimmicks. That's really not how you play to the strength of your team building. But it's turn 5. We've got the EX ult for Ice, so we're just going to keep her in the back for now. That way we don't have to keep converting her every single turn, and we can save some points. So now it's just rushing to turn 8, which we're just going to do right here. Okay, so end of turn 7, beginning of turn 8, there we go. We've got 309 plus another 110 from Hestia, so we'll use the EX ult and ult down. Now that she doesn't have Lord's Ambition, we could use that. And then we'll use the Pierce buff, and then the Ice buff. And now we're going to nuke after we use Hestia. And we can send all the ults in all full orbs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bell does 1.6, obviously. And Ice does 5.8 million damage. Type disadvantage. So yeah, you can use it. Probably not the best. To replace pretty much every character here for someone else that you have available to nuke. As long as you can do 5 million damage, you're going to be okay. Alright, the next team we're going to use is the Schemer team for the sword gimmick, essentially. So we've got Soe, Soka, and Laplace from the full-on Schemer meta. We need Soka for the sword gimmick, we need Laplace for the follow-up orbs, and then the other 3 characters are just Schemer units. Free-to-play Misery, Kigali that came out this month, and then Old Fire Violet. And if you have other Schemer characters you want to use, then by all means do that. But because Schemer units get 2 hit counts for every time they do a hit, it really helps us get our hit counter up to a point where we're able to kill MILIM with the sword gimmick on turn 5, even though she has a 6-hit barrier there. So, turn 1, I mean, you're looking for a decent hand, whatever you can really make out of it. If it's 5 orbs for somebody, it's 5 orbs. but we really kind of want to use the sword gimmick as early as possible to get as many hits as possible. So turn 1, we're just going to use the sword gimmick, and we're going to send the 5 Violet Orbs. And because Violet and every character here is a schemer, you're getting 2 hit counts for every orb. So we're up to 10 hits because we sent 5 orbs. And as long as we can get stacks, and as long as we can get the follow-up orbs from Laplace activated, you should be okay. You really don't want to send ults here, though, because while ults do count for the hit counter, they don't get a follow-up orb, which is subtracting at least another 2 hits from your counter. So, I mean, if you have ults for someone, don't send them. That's why we kind of brought Kigali, so we can just ult swap almost every single turn, and we could only send green orbs that have follow-up orbs, and that will ensure that we can get the full amount of hits that we can possibly get with this team. And if you have another unit who can multi-hit, like Protector P Sonata or the actual Schemer Lumi or something, then it makes things a lot easier. But we're going as free-to-play friendly-ish as possible. So we've alt-swapped Soka away, and now we still have a full team of Schemer characters, which is why we built it like this. So we're going to get the 12 hits, well, 24 hits actually, because we're sending 6 orbs, which count for 2, and then they have the 6 follow-up orbs, which also count for 2. So we're getting quite a few hits here. So we're up to 48, and then 50, 52, 54, blah, 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 blah. The sword gimmick kicks in on turn 5, at the end of turn 5, and it takes into account your highest attack stat from any of the characters. Whoever happens to have the highest attack on the team, the sword gimmick is going to base off that damage and the total number of hits that you've done to the enemy, which we haven't done that many. Like, if this was an AoE fight, we'd be looking a whole lot better, because we'd have the multi-skill, we'd have the AoE attack, we'd have the follow-up orbs. Like, that's when you can get up to like 800 hits or something in turn 5 in 5 turns. We don't have that here, intentionally, because 1, it's not AoE, and 2, I assume that most people don't have Schemer or Schemer Lumi. But if you have at least Soka, I mean, you can make it work. So we've just crossed the 80 hit barrier, which changes our damage up quite a bit. And now turn 5, she has Lord's Ambition, debuff, doesn't matter, like really doesn't. We're going to send a few ults here, because we've already crossed that 80 hit threshold. We're confident in that. I just want to lower her HP a little bit more, just to ensure that the sword gimmick can actually kill. Because if you don't do that, and you don't take a lot of her HP away, she could end up surviving with just a sliver of health. But that is enough. That is enough to do what we need to do here. So, 73k, and then the follow-up orbs, we've crossed the 100 hit barrier, and now no burn because of the Lord's Ambition. But she's going to ult us, and the sword gimmick will come in, even through the barrier with 6 hits. She is still dead, because they're doing like 600,000 a hit, and there's quite a few of them. So the Schemer team can work, but it does obviously require the sword gimmick, and preferably a full team of Schemer allies. And the final team is going to be the free-to-play version of the Reckoning meta. The Reckoning team just got its beatdown battle rerun, so everyone can get access to Shizu again, which is kind of huge. She's kind of necessary for this team. Also, Carrion you can get from the Flashback shop. The very important thing about Carrion, though, is that he has the AoE heal charm. Like, that makes him... like, that is the most necessary charm for him to run this team. Everyone else here is either a free-to-play character or friggin' old as shit. So we've got free-to-play Aaron, Trya, Isis, and then we've got Lumi, because she's converts, and she's a healer, and then obviously Shizu herself for the Reckoning skills. So again, we're going to go pretty quick on this one. Reckoning takes a while. But turn 1, I mean, we're just going to send, I think, the 4 orbs for Isis. But the key points of this is that every time you get a stack of Reckoning, it's going to do passive damage from turn 5 onwards. And the more stacks of Reckoning you have, the more damage you do. And the more HP you have, the more damage Reckoning is going to do. So what Carrion does when you activate him is he puts a Reckoning field on you, which means that every time you heal, you get Reckoning stacks. So with the AoE heal charm attached to him, means that we're going to get a heal on everyone, which is 2 stacks. Great, so that's 6 stacks of Reckoning every single time you use Carrion, just straight up. That is why the heal charm is so important. And then we've brought Lumi, because she also has a heal. And you could replace any of these characters with other healing characters, Water Rimuru, Trainee, Ramaris, Murin, literally anyone that has a heal. You could put them on the team and they would work great. But I'm trying to go as free-to-play friendly as frickin' possible with this team. And if you have any of the real Sparkle of Youth Reckoning units, then your life just becomes a whole lot easier, especially if you have Hinata. But we're assuming that you don't. So here, we're just going to send these orbs, and we're going to make back some points and not worry about a lot of things here. We just didn't have a good hand. But the more Reckoning stacks you can get, the better. But the other thing to note is that she removes your Reckoning stacks on turn 5. So you don't need to really rush that hard for getting stacks until after turn 5, because she's going to wipe them away. And the barrier will stop the Reckoning stuff from even hitting her. You have to break that. So here, I mean, we're going to use some orbs, we're going to heal a little bit. We've got some stacks, they're all going to be gone after this turn. So you're pretty much starting from 0 on turn 6. And that's when the Reckoning can really kick in and actually take effect, because it's every turn after 5. So turn 6, turn 7, turn 8, turn whatever. After that, you can do Reckoning. But there goes the stacks. Here is the barrier. We want to make sure we break that barrier. And we also want to now apply Reckoning stacks to where it really is going to hit her. So Carrion, reset, give us the AoE heal, give us 6 stacks across the board. We'll use Lumi's heal now to give us another 6 stacks. And then we'll use Shizu's other ability to give us another stack, because every time you use either of Shizu's skills, you get 1 stack of Reckoning, which is why she's so important, while being an orb changer and an alt swapping character. And now with 12 stacks, we're doing 18 stacks, 641,000 damage. So let's take Isis out of here. She's a bit low on HP. And then we will alt swap again, give us a full hand of greens. We will use the free-to-play Aaron's total HP increase by 15%. It's not a lot, but it does give you more HP, and Reckoning scales off how much HP you currently have. So if you have more HP, your Reckoning will do more damage, on top of just straight up having more stacks of Reckoning. So boom. And we now have quite a few stacks across the board. Now we're doing 1.4 million damage. And it's only going to go up the more and more stacks you get, and the higher your HP continues to be. So convert, alt swap away, use Carrion for another 6 stacks of Reckoning. We'll then use Lumi to heal. Even though we don't really need the healing, we want the Reckoning stacks. So boom and boom. We'll send another 6 orbs. And then we're going to do even more damage here because we're nice and topped up, and we have even more stacks than we had last turn. So last turn we did like 1.4 million. And now on turn 8, Lord's Ambition does not save her. Now we're doing 1.9 million. So at that point, I mean, we're pretty set. As long as Lumi doesn't die here, we're going to be really, really good. And MILIM will die from Reckoning on turn 9. So that's the free-to-play Reckoning team. Again, if you have Hinata, Yuki, I mean, Frey to a point, yeah, then this becomes much, much easier. But still, you can't activate Reckoning until after turn 5 because she cleanses you. She takes away everything. So don't really try and push it until after turn 5. And there we do 2.9 million damage. So there we are. There's another 4 teams that you can use to clear the ODL event against MILIM. Again, I have some other teams that I used previously for the last event, which is pretty much the same, in the video linked below. So if these teams don't work for you and the Earth teams from the part 1 didn't work, please check those out. Otherwise, that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.